Hello. Read it here. Today we're going to read a story from /Am I the Asshole? Now, for our first story. Am I the asshole for canceling on our family cruise? So, my parents wanted to do a cruise for the holidays. They invited me, 25F, my boyfriend, 27M, my brother, 28M, and his girlfriend, 26F. My brother, let's call him James, has always been the golden child. Some backstory. Back in high school, when James was discovered to be selling pills, he was just going through a phase. Meanwhile, when I got caught smoking weed, my parents threatened to kick me out. James lost his scholarship and dropped out of college 3 different times, but he's still perfect. I graduated a semester late, and I didn't try hard enough. James still lives in the state where he attended college, and I live in my home state near my parents. He doesn't work, he's not currently in school. My parents buy him flights all the time to come visit, but don't buy me a flight to go see him or go anywhere else. My parents send him money for rent and life necessities. He bought a $2,000 dog recently with that money. When I got my first big job at age 22, my parents immediately kicked me off their insurance since I had the option of benefits. James was on their insurance until he turned 26. Last year, I got laid off and moved back in with my parents to save money. When I got my new job, my parents told me I needed to pay $10,000 in back rent, which was never discussed previously. I did finish paying it off and recently moved in with my boyfriend. This has been a pattern my whole life. James gets everything handed to him, and I have to work my ass off. So, now to the cruise. My parents said they wanted to do this, and bought tickets for themselves, James, and his girlfriend. They told me to get my own ticket, since I have a well-paying job. I was super upset and told them it wasn't fair that I was the only one who had to buy their own ticket. My boyfriend couldn't come due to holiday plans with his own family. My parents said I was acting spoiled and that green wasn't a good look on me. I'm so tired of hearing that phrase at this point. They said it's not like I had to get a nice room, since we'd be outside at the majority of the time anyway. Which is true, but then why get James a nice room? I decided I had enough, and I wasn't going. But here's where I may be the asshole. I let them continue thinking I was for months. Then, on the night before they left, they said to get to their house by 8 a.m. so we could start the drive to the port. At 8:30 that day, they start messaging me asking where I am. I texted them, since you didn't want to put the effort in to have me join you. I will be attending my boyfriend's Thanksgiving instead. Have a nice trip with your favorite child. Then I muted the chat. I talked to some friends about this, and some said it was petty of me to cancel with no warning, and others said I should have sucked it up and gone since I would have had fun when I got there. They've been on the cruise for a couple days now, and I'm starting to regret how I handled things. Yeah, I probably would have had fun, and it's not like I couldn't afford the ticket. I also could have handled the delivery better. But at the same time, I'm so sick of them treating me like this. So, am I the asshole for canceling on our family vacation? Let's hear from the comment section. Wait, did I read it correctly that they charged you $10,000 back rent, which had never been discussed prior, and you paid it? NTA, but I would have gone low contact with them and definitely not even contemplated going on a trip with them. Save that for people that enjoy you, OP. The sad thing is, this is not an uncommon situation. My brother's wife's family is like this. Her drug addict golden boy brother gets all the attention and financial support from their father because he's having a hard time, mostly of his own making. Now, since their mother passed, she's expected to take care of the old man now that he has dementia. As an outsider looking in, it's really unfair. Yes, sadly, irresponsible people don't just suddenly become responsible when it's thrust upon them. There would just be another heartbreaking case of elder abuse in the news. Most people love their parents more than that, whether or not they deserve it. My mom's an absolute monster, but I know I'm going to have to be the one to take care of her unless the funding for elder care will start flowing in. She's an awful human being, but she's still a human being. And I don't want anyone to die because of feces-related infections. It's a horrible way to die. Can confirm, not uncommon. My family did this to me constantly. They would have entire vacations and would leave me. I started therapy and cut them all off. My anxiety went down a ton. My mom did all those same things to me, cut me off insurance as soon as I turned 18, etc. My mom still is horrible, but will always favor my 2 younger brothers. Just get out, OP, you won't regret it. Otherwise, they will keep you in a guilt loop where you go back and forth and second-guess yourself constantly. I can't be the only one who thinks this sounds so familiar. It's like the whole golden child dynamic can mess with your head for years. I get why you're upset. This isn't just about the cruise, it's about being treated like the afterthought your whole life. It's one thing to have to deal with this growing up, but as an adult, the favoritism is hard to ignore. I think what bothers me the most is how they try to make you feel like you were in the wrong for wanting the same treatment as James. The green doesn't look good on you comment is a classic guilt trip. What's worse is how they still went on the cruise without any acknowledgement of how you felt. Honestly, if they're going to act like this, why should you put in the effort? Sometimes not going and making them deal with the consequences is the only way to send a message. Now, for our second story. Am I the asshole for not letting my sister's kids move in after she abandoned them? Okay, so this is a mess, and I need to know if I'm being a complete a-hole or not. My 32F sister Lisa, 36F, has always been the golden child in our family. Growing up, she could do no wrong. She got into trouble? It was just kids being kids. She made mistakes? Oh, Lisa is just figuring things out. Meanwhile, I got the "why can't you be more like your sister" treatment. Anyway, fast forward to now. Lisa has 3 kids, 8F, 6M, and 4M, and is married to Jason, 38M. I have no kids, but I've been saving up to buy my first home, and let me tell you, it's been a grind. I've been working 2 jobs for years, and I just finally closed on a small house last month. It's nothing fancy, but it's mine, and I'm proud of it. So here's where the drama starts. Lisa and Jason have been having issues for a while, but a few weeks ago, Lisa decided she needed a break. Not just from Jason, but apparently from being a mom too. She packed a bag and left. Just like that. Jason is scrambling, trying to work and take care of the kids, but he works long hours, and now the kids are bouncing between my mom's house and his cousin's place. My mom calls me up last week and says, "You have the space now, so why don't you let the kids stay with you until Lisa gets her act together?" I was shocked, like absolutely floored. I told her, "Mom, I just moved in. I'm still unpacking. I don't even have furniture in half the rooms yet. I'm not equipped to take care of 3 kids." She started guilt-tripping me, saying they're family and they need stability right now. "You're just being selfish." Then she said something that really pissed me off. "Well, you don't have kids, so it's not like you have anything else to focus on." I snapped. I told her that Lisa is the selfish one here, not me. She's the one who walked out on her kids. And why should I have to put my life on hold because Lisa can't handle hers? Mom started crying and said I was being heartless. The whole family is now split. Some are on my side, saying it's unfair for me to suddenly become a caretaker, while others are calling me cold and ungrateful. Lisa, by the way, hasn't even called to check in. She's been posting Instagram pics from God knows where, looking like she's living her best life. I feel bad for the kids. I really do, but I didn't sign up to be their mom. I work hard to get to where I am, and I don't think it's fair to just drop everything because my sister decided to bail. So, am I the asshole? Let's hear from the comment section. Not just Mom, everyone with time to chime in as well. Do not do this unless you want to have time to do it and can commit to it. For the love of all things, make a family chart. Another poster did, and suddenly people could see her point. Everyone's shaming you. Tell them, great, I'm putting you down for XX, YYY, or ZZ Day from time to time. You just said family is important, so I'm glad you will be making time to support the kids. And then add everyone with time to shit talk to a chat with a chart on who should be helping, and maybe put yourself down for an hour at the kid's house. Don't bring them to your space. Not the asshole. And now mommy is pissed because all these years she spent coddling, enabling, and excusing inappropriate behavior of her daughter/sis is now at her doorstep in the form of her 3 grandchildren that were abandoned by mommy/Grammy's creation of a horrible human being that cannot handle her own business. OP is not the asshole. Mom and her flying monkeys can open their own homes up and figure this out themselves. OP has nothing to do with this and is not obligated to help clean up the mess Mom made, and sis is out being a free spirit instead of the actual parent she should be. Why is the solution to bounce the kids around, trying to find a new sole caregiver to take over while mom enjoys her abandonment time? Keep the kids at home with dad and have grams and cousins and aunts and maybe daycare. Help out with care while dad is working. Dad is a single parent now and is the one responsible, but he and the kids need support. Shaking my head, if the kids need stability, which yes they do, moving in with someone new who is not equipped to care for them is not going to be it. Oh, this goes much deeper than that. Getting dumped on growing up and then being asked to support the golden child's progeny is a minefield and a half. My first instinct when I hear about this dynamic is that it sounds like normal alcoholic family dynamics. First kid the hero, second kid the scapegoat. If Lisa comes back and decides OP's done a bad job of parenting, my guess is OP gets to play scapegoat. If OP's parents decide that something should have been handled better, scapegoat. It's not even clear that Jason even asked for the help. It sounds more like grandma is confronted with the consequences of how she raised Lisa. I feel for the kids. It's a tragedy for sure, but isn't remotely OP's fault. But if she's the family's favorite scapegoat, taking on these kids is an invitation to get crapped on by any of them if they're unhappy about how the kids turn out. Or if Lisa decides that it's a good smokescreen for herself. That OP did such a horrible job with the kids that it should eclipse anything that Lisa has done. Avoiding a snake pit is self-preservation. Being gaslit into feeling guilty about it doesn't make you the asshole. Not the asshole. Tell Jason to file for divorce, take custody of the kids, get them DNA tested to ensure paternity, and make Lisa pay child support. There is no break from being a parent. She's another poster child example of a woman who sacrificed her family for her own personal happiness. But, of course, there's mom making excuses for her spoiled child's behavior and doing everything she can to bail her brat of a daughter out. Tell your mom and anybody who tries to shame or guilt trip you to go fly a kite. Now, for our third story. Am I the asshole for refusing to give my sister the money I saved for my future wedding even though her family is struggling? So okay, this is kind of a long one, but I'll try to make it short. I, 27F, have been saving money for years for my dream wedding. It's not crazy or anything, but it's special to me because I always wanted to have like this beautiful day with my partner. I'm engaged BTW, my fiancé, 30M, is amazing and supportive. Anyway, I've been putting like every extra penny I can aside since I was 22. Now my sister, 35F, is a single mom with 3 kids, and she's had it rough lately. Her ex, honestly don't even get me started on him, left her and she's struggling with rent and groceries and stuff. It's heartbreaking. I love my nieces and nephew to death. But last week, my mom, 58F, called me and basically said I should step up as family and give my sister the wedding money to help them out. I was shocked, like completely floored. I told her no, that I've worked so hard to save that money, and it's not fair for them to ask me to give up something I've been planning for years. My mom called me selfish and said my sister is drowning while I'm worrying about flowers and dresses. She even told my fiancé I'm being greedy, but he told her to back off. Then my sister texted me this super long message about how she'd pay me back someday and how her kids didn't ask to be in this situation. And honestly, I cried. I feel so bad for them. But also, it's not my fault her life turned out this way. I work a full-time job, I budget, I saved. I can't just start giving it away because someone else didn't. Now the whole family is basically split down the middle. Half are saying I'm cold-hearted and don't care about my own blood. The other half says it's not my responsibility and that my mom and sister are just guilting me. Even my brother, 31M, told me he thinks they're being unfair, but then my cousin said she agrees I should help since I have the money. It's tearing me up because I love my family, but I don't think it's fair for me to give up something I've worked for. My sister hasn't exactly been the most supportive person in my life before, and I feel like they just see me as an ATM now. So, am I the asshole for saying no? Let's hear from the comment section. Never talk to family about money. Just do not do it. If they ask how much, I've had expenses. How much for the vacation? I had discounts in points. How much money do you make? Enough to get by. Nothing good will come of this. It's always the most successful individuals that are tasked to pay for their family's mistakes. They also always downplay the hard work the person in question put to get that stable position in life and claim he or she is simply more lucky. It's sickening. And where will it end? Oh, give us that money for the kids. Oh, you're getting a new car or coat or shoes. No, they need it more. And babysitting and so on. I'd elope and use the money for a honeymoon or something to not have to invite the one spending her money for her, or do something smaller while still getting the important parts like the dress. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. You will be throwing money away. Nothing in the post shows that sister even has a plan for what to do if she ever got out of the financial hole. She will be right back in the same place quickly. If you want to help your sister, find her resources, services that can help with rent or food, services that can help her come up with a financial plan. But not cash. Use your money for the intended purpose for which you planned and worked. I've ran into this problem in the past, so I've gone to people's house and ran the numbers. You would be amazed at how many silly things people spend on. Eat rice, 20 pounds is $22. Potatoes, 50 pounds, $19.50. And bake a chicken 4 times a week. Chicken quarters are 0.75 a pound and come in a 6 pounds bag. That will save you a fortune. Kill all online subscriptions and stick to basic cable and internet $65 from $200. No more booze and no more parties. All of a sudden your money now pays everything off. Amazing. I did this to a man that was earning $150K a year and was struggling. He's not struggling anymore. He also tells everyone how much he dislikes and or hates me and has not spoken to me in 18 months. When people ask what happened, I say I hit him with reality slap and paid 1 month of his bills, which I have yet to collect the IOU on. Like in that movie A Bronx Tale. $6,000 got rid of a problem that I will never have to deal with again. Now, for our 4th story. Am I the asshole for refusing to help my sister after what she did to me? So, this is kind of long, but I need some outside opinions because my family is literally losing their minds at me right now. Okay, so I, 28M, have a younger sister, Kelly, 26F. We used to be close when we were kids, but everything went sideways when I got into college. Kelly has always been, how do I put this, spoiled? My parents always favored her because she was the baby of the family and had a rough time in school. She was the golden child, and I was the one who was just expected to be independent and take care of myself. When I got into college, I worked part-time jobs to pay for my expenses while juggling a full-time course load. Meanwhile, Kelly was getting handed new iPhones and vacations paid for by my parents every year. I didn't complain because, hey, that's just how it is sometimes. Fast forward a few years, I graduated, got a decent job in IT, and was saving up to buy my first home. I was proud of myself. Honestly. Then came the bombshell. Kelly got pregnant with her then boyfriend, now ex, because of course he bailed. My parents were freaking out because they didn't want her to ruin her future. And guess who they turned to for help? Yep, me. They basically told me I needed to give Kelly the money I'd saved up for my house so she could get back on her feet. Mind you, Kelly and I were not even on good terms at the time because she thought I was boring and judgy for not partying like she did. I refused. Like, why should I give up my hard-earned savings because she made bad choices? My parents called me selfish and heartless, but I stood my ground. Eventually, they mortgaged their own house to help her out, and I thought that was the end of it. Well, fast forward to last month. I finally bought my dream house, a cute little place with a yard. I invited my family over for a small housewarming barbecue. Kelly showed up late, barely said 2 words to me, and then started complaining about how unfair it was that I had a house while she was stuck in a crappy apartment. Here's the kicker. 2 days later, I find out from a mutual friend that Kelly told everyone at the barbecue that I only have the house because I stole inheritance money from her. WTF? There is no inheritance. My parents are still alive, for crying out loud. I confronted her, and she just smirked and said, well, maybe you should have helped me when I needed it. I lost it. I told her she was toxic, selfish, and that I was done with her. Now, here's where the current drama kicks in. Kelly's babysitter just quit, and my parents are begging me to help out with watching her kid. They said, family sticks together, and that I need to be the bigger person. I told them no. Now the whole family is blowing up my phone, calling me a jerk, saying I'm punishing an innocent child because of my issues with Kelly. but like this isn't my responsibility, right? I work full-time and have my own life. So, am I the asshole for refusing to help after everything she did to me? Let's hear from the comment section. I lived that. I'm the oldest and only girl with 2 younger brothers. I'm 63 and the misogyny was horrid. I ended up pregnant and married at 19 with 4 by 26. My husband and I worked our butts off, raised 4 successful daughters, and are close to a comfortable retirement. The second oldest is estranged from most of his kids, is always in financial hot water, and has a stalking charge to his name. The youngest still lives at home with my mother and his convicted felon wife while raising at least one of his grandkids. God knows how they got custody. While 2 of his kids want nothing to do with him. I was hit up multiple times for money, but I finally cut my mom and youngest of them out of my life 15 years ago. The other brother, maybe 8 years ago. My dad, when he was alive, always said how hard the boys had it and I lost it on him. I find it hysterical that the only successful child was the daughter who was treated as a second-class citizen. Not the asshole. Kelly is the one who needs to learn responsibility and how to take care of her own child. Don't let your family guilt trip you into enabling her entitled behavior any longer. You deserve to enjoy your new home without any toxic drama. You're absolutely not the asshole. Kelly's actions have been consistently entitled and disrespectful, and it's not your responsibility to clean up the messes she creates. Refusing to help isn't about punishing her child. It's about setting boundaries with someone who has shown zero respect for you or your efforts. You've worked hard to get where you are, and you have every right to protect your time, energy, and emotional well-being. It's unfair for your family to expect you to repeatedly sacrifice for someone who hasn't demonstrated gratitude or accountability. Family doesn't mean being a doormat, and you're not obligated to solve problems that aren't yours. If your parents are so insistent, they can step up and figure out a solution just like they've done before. Stand firm, and don't let the guilt trip derail the life you've built for yourself. You deserve better than this toxic cycle. She could have avoided all this by taking responsibility for her own mess. You owe her nothing, especially after the garbage she pulled. Let your family whine. They can deal with her now. Now, for our 5th and last story. Am I the asshole for leaving my family without a turkey after my mom criticized my fiancé and said she wouldn't be a good wife and mother? 29M. A few weeks ago, I got engaged to my fiancée Julia. I love her very much and 100% sure she's the one I want to marry. I've always been close to my mom, but sadly, Julia has never been her cup of tea. Julia is very career-oriented and cannot cook or decorate to save her life. My mom, on the other hand, prides herself on being a great cook and having the house perfect. In the past, she's expressed concern that Julia and I are too different and she won't be a dedicated wife and mother. I've always thought these criticisms were unfair and continued to pursue the relationship. We went to my family's house for Thanksgiving this year, and usually, my mom prepares everything herself. Strangely, when Julia called and asked if we could bring anything, she asked if Julia could do the turkey. As I mentioned, Julia has very little cooking experience, and told my mom she was worried about ruining the meal. My mom told her she should just try, and that she'd have to learn to cook at some point. Julia was stressed about making the turkey and also has been extraordinarily busy with work. Instead of cooking, we decided to pick up turkey from Whole Foods. Julia was excited that she could contribute and also didn't have the stress of ruining the meal. When we got to the house, my mom asked how she prepared the turkey. Julia said sheepishly that she'd purchased it from Whole Foods. My mom was furious. She said she trusted Julia to make the turkey and said that she prides herself on serving a home-cooked meal to her guests. Julia apologized and said she just wanted to make sure the family had something enjoyable and that the turkey we bought would be better than anything she tried cooking. My mom spent the next hour pouring and whispering to her sisters. I pulled her to the side and asked if everything was okay. My mom said she asked Julia to make the turkey and she couldn't even be bothered to try. She said this showed a lack of respect and also an unwillingness to grow up. My mom proceeded to tell me that she doesn't think Julia is the one for me and is worried about her ability to care for herself and our children. I was fuming. I told my mom that Julia is amazing, and her lack of cooking skills is not an issue for me in the slightest. I said that if my mom couldn't respect my fiancé, I didn't want to spend the holiday with them. My mom said my fiancé is the one who doesn't know how to respect others, and I'm delusional if I can't see that. I ended up taking the turkey and telling Julia we were leaving. We drove across town and enjoyed a wonderful night with her family. Julia and I are both devastated, but I've assured her that this is my mom's issue and not hers. About half an hour ago, I got a call from my sister. She said we ruined Thanksgiving by leaving and also taking the turkey. I said I didn't realize they'd want the turkey since my mom was so critical. My sister insisted it was a misunderstanding and that cooking means a lot to our mom because it's how she expresses love. She interpreted the lack of effort as Julia not making an effort to bond and assimilate with the family. My sister is asking me to apologize, but I feel we're the ones who are owed an apology. I'll also note that my mom has never once asked me to make the turkey, and it seems like a double standard that she suddenly expects Julia to do it. It also seems like she's trying to turn my wife into someone she's not. Am I the asshole? Let's hear from the comment section. It was 100% a trap. If Julia had actually cooked the turkey, even if it had been amazing, there's no way this woman wouldn't have found something to complain about it. Nobody who's not an idiot sets the main dish of a big meal to a newbie cook who doesn't want to do it unless they're setting them up for failure. She started quizzing Julia on how she prepared the turkey because she was shocked she turned up with a turkey that looked good. Also, the sister is also an idiot if she couldn't see that her mother was setting up her brother's fiancé for failure. It can be hard to argue with your mother if she's on a tear, but calling up your brother and insisting his fiancé apologizes is agreeing with your mother. I'd say that if someone has never prepared a turkey for a Thanksgiving meal, they shouldn't be asked to do so. That's something you'd practice with your own nuclear family while having a backup dish ready, or with safe friends who understand and who you know will take a less than perfect or even outright failed turkey in stride. I can cook, but I've never prepared a whole bird of any size. I can figure out a recipe, but wouldn't trust the outcome to serve at a dinner someone else is hosting. I think Julia did the right thing given the situation, acting in good faith, and agree with you that OP's mom totally set her up to fail. Then when it didn't quite play out as the mom anticipated, she pivoted to lambasting her future daughter-in-law for being self-aware enough to buy a cooked turkey from Whole Foods. Not the asshole. This sounds like a good time to prepare yourself for the possibility you will need to go and see with your mom. You need to have a sit down with your mother and firmly express how unacceptable her behavior is and that you won't stand for her mistreating your future wife like this. Make it abundantly clear that her future behavior will determine if you will decide to let her have a future with you and any potential kids you have. Julia could have brought a turkey lovingly and perfectly cooked by Martha Stewart herself. But if she had told OP's mom that she is the one who cooked it, OP's mom would have been a smug bitch the whole night, criticizing the turkey and how awful it is, blaming Julia. OP's mom is never going to like Julia because OP's mom is threatened. She's digging her heels in, making sure everyone knows that only the things mom is good at are the things that matter. Julia is clearly capable, intelligent, driven, and powerful in the business world. But because mom isn't any of that, apparently those skills are lower in the rankings than freaking cooking and cleaning because that's literally mom has, making her incapable of even supporting herself, by herself, and she has to feel important. Final judgment. Not the asshole. But OP's mom is a straight-up narcissistic bitch trying to maintain 1950s relevance in a world that no longer works that way. Mom sucks. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to see more.